Hello again. We are Chris Lee, Max Barr, Blake Lovell, Southeastern 14, here to preview Kentucky's matchup with Oakland here in Michigan, if you didn't know that. 6:10 Central on Thursday. Before we get into the matchup, a reminder, NCAA tournaments here. BetOnline is your bracket headquarters for the season with the best bracket contest out there. Odds, lines, info on every team, every round up right until the national championship. You can access the most up-to-the-minute wagering information anytime from your desktop or mobile devices. Even track your bracket real time all the way through the tournament. Head to BetOnline today. Get in on all the action. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. All right, gentlemen. Kentucky last we saw had fits with Texas A&M, which for whatever reason was a bad matchup. Kentucky did that thing where it didn't play defense again, got torched by A&M's guards, and much to our surprise, got a 3 seed in the tournament. Thought the Cats were more like a 4, but that's not what the committee thought. That's what matters. They get Oakland, which first blush when I saw this draw for Kentucky, I said, hey, this is a no-brainer. This is an easy one. But I was having a conversation with Coach on the staff of a team in the tournament this week. And I said, give me a team that's nobody is expecting to pull an upset that could pull one. And his answer was Oakland. I said, really? I don't see it. He said, well, first of all, Greg Campy's their coach. He's won a lot of bye games in his career. Bye game is a game where you're supposed to go and take a loss in somebody else's building and you win. Greg Campy, by the way, been at Oakland since 1999. Another thing he said is they run a matchup zone that's kind of tough. You don't see it a lot, so they might be able to slow them down a bit. No, look, Kentucky zone may play right into what Kentucky does here because we know the Cats can shoot from outside and shoot it, make them in bunches, and hit them at a very efficient clip. But this is also a very young team. Doesn't always play with discipline and intelligence. That's bitten Kentucky multiple times. So I'm not sitting here saying, look out, Oakland's going to be your bracket busters at 14. But I just wanted to plant that seed from somebody who knows that team a little bit and said, hey, that was a team we didn't want to face, and we're glad we didn't get them.
I had the same exact reaction, Chris. First I see it, I go, and I liked the 6-11 also with Texas Tech and NC State. I was like, oh, wow. I like this draw for Kentucky, but then when you go deeper into it, you can see how Oakland may provide some resistance. They don't play a single underclassman, Oakland. All upperclassmen, starters, bench, rotation guys, all upperclassmen. And they had a brutal non-conference, like one of the best in the country.
Always. They always play a tough schedule like that. And that's and he does it for this reason, like so they can be ready for these kind of games. So, yeah.
15th nationally in non-conference strength of schedule. I mean, in some good results. Lost to Ohio State by 6, Illinois by 11, Drake by 8, won at Xavier. So you've got that angle playing for you. But then also, they have let up some crazy numbers. They gave up 98 to Fort Wayne, 96 to Wright State, 91 to Dayton. Dayton, good team, but still just kind of listing off some teams that they've given up 90 plus to. You're giving up 98 to Fort Wayne and 96 to Wright State. I mean, just imagine what the Kentucky offense might be able to get on. And then the one last piece before I jump it to you, Blake, Oakland's defense, 362nd, dead last in defensive assist rate. They allow an assist on 62.4% of made field goals. So if we're looking for a little prop, maybe a little Reed Shepherd assist prop might be being sprinkled here in the Substack.
Okay, so Max said that they don't play, a guy, any underclassmen, right? And that's important. But here's something else that I don't think that if you dive deeper into looking at the makeup of this team, here's what's unusual about Oakland. They have guys who have been there for multiple, 4 years or more. Townsend has been there for a long time. Lampman has been there for a long time. Think about in this era, right? When you have guys like this and how easy it is to lose those guys to the portal and everything, you've got a team guys that have played together. This is year 4 for Townsend there. I think Lampman, it's year 5. I mean, yeah, like I hate to like just completely agree with both you guys. You know how much I hate to do that. But I have changed my tune on this game now too. Like I look at this, and I told Max before we started recording, I'm like, Oakland is a team that meets a lot of the criteria if you're trying to find an upset in the first round with the experience they have, with guys who have played a lot. Yeah, like, you know, having some of your top tier players like a Townsend and a Lampman being there as long as they've been there.
The center
very
too, Blake.
experienced.
The center too,
What's
Conway.
Yeah,
He's
Conway.
another 4 year.
Another guy who's been there 4+ years, right? Or so. That's the thing. It's like Campy has basically built this team like for this. Like he has built this team over the past several years to have this opportunity. First time they won the Horizon League and all that. So, yeah, this makes me a little bit more nervous probably than I would have been, because you guys know, if you watch the reaction stream, I said I thought Kentucky had the best path to the Final Four. I don't know that I completely agree with that anymore. And I know that a lot of Kentucky fans watching right now thinking, what happened to these guys? Like, what are they doing right now? Are they all about to, you know, do what we think they're going to do? We'll get to the picks in a minute, but we're just, as I say, Max, you'd much rather in this setting, and we know every coach drills this into their team, you would much rather overestimate what your opponent can do than underestimate what your opponent can do.
Yep.
And I think this is one of those teams that I guarantee you, as John Calipari has seen the exact same stuff that we're seeing, you better believe he's presenting them like the 96 Bulls here or something. Because I think that's the way you have to go, because they are an experienced team that's got a absolutely outstanding player in Trey Townsend, but they got a lot of other guys too that can cause fits. And I like teams like that. In this kind of tournament setting, you have to have multiple guys. You can't just have one guy has an off game, you're done. They got multiple guys who can play well. And so it's a challenge, I think.
Yeah, Townsend was the Horizon Player of the Year. I'm not even sure he's the best player on this team. They've got a kid named Jack. I guess it's going to be Golke. Who
Townsend's the best player on this team. I would disagree. Well,
probably, but I'm going to 55% effective field goal percentage on a pretty decent volume of shots, 79% for the field, highest offensive rating on the team at 122. Just saying. Oh, by the way, speaking of guys that with SEC ties, Rocket Watts is on this team. Comes off the bench. Played at Michigan State, played at Mississippi State. So just another one. Look, I think Blake brought up some good points, but there's also Kentucky. And I think, look, let's just get into the picks. I could draw up a scenario for you by which we're having one of those Thursday night shows and going, oh my goodness, it happened to them again. We have just laid that out. On the other hand, you have Kentucky, which has got just an embarrassment of scoring riches, maybe more than anybody in the country. It's got Reed Sheppard. You know, I knocked Kentucky earlier for being heady. Well, Reed Sheppard is not the problem there. They've got a veteran guard in Antonio Reeves. They've got all kinds of size in the middle. Look, could Oakland win this game? Yes, it could. The prospect of Kentucky facing a zone with all those shooters and all that talent, I'm going to go Kentucky, because if they played 100 times, we all know who's going to win this game more often than not. And by the way, Xavier was a team that Oakland did beat, and I think that was on the road. But you look more often than not when Oakland played these games, it lost them. And I'm going to go with the law of averages and say that's what's going to happen here.
Yeah, one quick note, because we did mention him. Okay, so Jack Golke, he has an absolutely absurd box score for the year. He has taken 8 2-pointers. Okay, the whole year. He's 4 of 8 from 2. He's 121 for 327 from 3.
That's a lot of shots.
He has 3 games over 18 3-point attempts. I don't even know how many in double digits. The past 2 games, 5 for 12, 7 of 14. You think Josh Hubbard shoots a lot from 3? This guy is allergic to taking a shot inside the arc. I just thought that was funny. But there's two things here that I'm liking from Kentucky. We got average height Okay, Oakland 291st nationally, Kentucky 9th. Oakland has not faced many teams this year that have the length and height and athleticism of Kentucky. And for a team that likes to shoot a lot, you can see how length might affect them in this game. And then pace, offensive tempo, Oakland 307th, Kentucky 21st. Now, I don't know who that's going to favor, but whoever does impose their pace, they're going to have a good chance at winning this game. If Oakland's able to muck this thing up and slow it way down and Golke shoots 23s and makes 7 of them, Oakland's going to have a good chance at hanging in this. But if Kentucky gets out and runs and gets out to a lead, Oakland with the 307th pace, they are not a team built to come from behind. So I'm going to take the talent, take the height, take the shooting against the zone. I'll go Kentucky, but if there's a team that is built for an early round upset, it's this veteran Oakland team.
Your hope, if you're a Kentucky fan, is that Oakland does not take the South Carolina approach, because I think with the pace and the way that they need to win this game, like, now look, they're not going to play South Carolina defense. That is something to quickly throw out there, but that would be the one thing, right? Because if this game gets going, like Max said, I think the pace is really where Kentucky can shine here, especially too, like Chris said, if you got a team that's going to play a matchup zone and you're going up and down the floor, well, what does that do? Like, you can't just completely get set every single time. So like transition and those kind of things for Kentucky, like I can already see it. It's like, all right, somebody just got a rebound. Reed Shepard just snuck over here in the right side. He's bringing the ball down. Antonio Reeves standing there in the corner, pass, shoot, 3. Like, bang. That's what I like to say. So, yeah, I mean, look, I'm going to pick Kentucky too, but like we said, there may be some Kentucky fans that think we're just overhyping Oakland. I would rather do that than disrespect them, because I said, even on the live reaction show, I said Greg Kampe has been there forever, and he is a really good coach. First time they won the Horizon League, there's a reason for that, because they have the team, I think, this year that kind of put it together. And we mentioned the pieces, whether it's guys that have been there building to kind of this one grand finale, I guess, for guys that have been there as long as that trio of guys has been there, as we mentioned. But it's also, again, kind of the other parts too. And you mentioned it, like, you got a guy who shoots that many threes. If he gets hot in a game like this, and remember, he's shooting that many threes and he's shooting 37%. So like, he's knocking them down at a really good clip. And so I think that's too for Kentucky. What is one of the things we said defensively? They got to play defense here. And they've gotten better than what they were at that, but I'm just saying, like, this is a team you got to defend against, because they will find a way to score, just given the multiple pieces that we talked about. So I'm going to pick Kentucky, but there's another thing I will throw in. Let me find the stat here. I just had it pulled up somewhere. It's one of those things where Max knows what I'm dealing with. Like, we're all in on, like, I've got so many tabs open right now. It's March, baby. I don't even know where to even find what I'm looking for.
Computer's
so
about
forget
to
it.
crash.
It is. I got so many tabs open. I was going to bring up a stat about John Calipari as a favorite against the spread, but just know that it's not the greatest number out there. But yeah, give me the Cats. But this is an interesting matchup, more than what I thought it would be when we first saw it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. More interesting than we thought at first blush. That's why we're here. We're here to do this with every single game involving SEC teams in the NCAA tournament. Best way to get those, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. That helps our analytics. For Max Barr, Blake Lovell, I'm Chris Lee. We are Southeastern 14, presented by BetOnline.